Presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Arizona.
It's game number 2 on this 10-game road trip, and so far so good under the arch here in St. Louis. A J.D. Martinez grand slam and an outstanding Zach Godley collected a 4-0 win last night. Better weather today, sunny skies all day. Robby Ray up against the Cardinals' Milwaukee here tonight. Glad you're with us for D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Good afternoon from Busch Stadium, and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthiaume and Bob Brenly along the way. Game 2 of 4 here, the D-backs and the Cardinals. And today was one of distraction all day long for St. Louis after Mike Matheny made some comments suggesting, but not saying, that Yadier Molina looked tired. So we had the night off last night. Well, Bob, Molina took to social media and was all over it. He was not happy.
Yeah, I mean, you really hate to see this happen on any ball club, but especially with a veteran leader like Yadier Molina. We talk a lot about communication in the game of baseball. Torey Lovullo has been outstanding this year communicating to his players. Obviously, there's a little bit of a disconnect over on that first base side of the field.
You can read the graphic that Molina sent out on the top right there. I'm not tired. I don't feel tired. If I am, I'll express it myself. Hashtag misinforming. And Molina said today he felt he had to defend himself against his manager.
Yeah, and Matheny actually said that he didn't ever say tired.
And he didn't.
But he wanted to use the word hurt because he saw Yadier Molina limping into third base on the game against the Rockies. So a lot of miscommunication. Got to do better than that.
Yeah, Yadier Molina, the face of this franchise, so everyone here in St. Louis up in arms over that today. Maybe that works out in the Diamondbacks' favor, certainly a big distraction. Robby Ray gets the baseball today, coming off a rough first inning Sunday against the Nationals.
Yeah, looking for a bounce-back outing, and it would help to have a 1-2-3 first. Robby in that last outing against the Nationals just couldn't get his feet underneath him. Brian Goodwin leads it off with a home run. He went on to give up 4 runs on 5 hits in the first inning, and only struck out 4 batters. He struck out 4 in each of his last 2 starts. He's got 6 double-digit strikeout games this season. Like to see Robby start punching out some of these Cardinals hitters tonight.
Well, the key will be fastball command. Hopefully Robby can bounce back here tonight against a very good pitcher for the Cardinals, St. Louis's Michael Wacha. We are set to go. Diamondbacks in St. Louis, the second of a 4-game series, and the first pitch is coming up shortly on Fox Sports Arizona. Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Gila River Casinos. The card by Gila River Casinos earns you rewards 10 times faster than ever before. Sign up today at any Gila River hotels and casinos location. By Chad. Valley Honda dealers, where you get more standard features for less money. Buy Gigablast Internet from Cox. Get ready for the gig life. Buy Oregano's. Step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run. At Oregano's, your neighborhood pizza joint, location statewide. By Phoenix International Raceway. Witness Dale Jr.'s final West Coast race when the Can-Am 500 NASCAR semifinal race comes to Phoenix November 10th through the 12th. And by State Farm, here to make life go right. Talk to an agent today or call 1-800-STATE-FARM. We're in St. Louis. Things are pointing in the right direction for the Diamondbacks. They've won 3 of 4, 6 of their last 10, now 16 over 500, and ready for the Cardinals. First pitch is coming up.
Our coverage of Diamondbacks baseball continues here on Fox Sports Arizona. We continue to set the table for Game 2 of this 4-game set. I'm Todd Walsh, literally inside the Arizona Diamondbacks dugout. We'll have the start of this game in mere moments with Steve Berthiaume and Bob Brenly. But one last look back to last night and that 4-0 win. The Diamondbacks putting a big inning together. That was the fourth. A.J. Pollock with a leadoff double. Jake Lamb, Paul Goldschmidt would walk. And then the hottest Diamondback, the newest Diamondback, J.D. Martinez came to the plate, 2 strikes, and I will tell you, I know he thought we were a little nuts talking to him before the game about his technique of visualizing success, but we couldn't resist because that's exactly what happened, and here it is, our big story.
Almost like you kind of, in a way, see into like the future almost with like that mind, and you're like, you know, and you're so locked in and like visualizing. I mean, when you're not locked in, everything's kind of blurry. It's kind of hard to like visualize it, but that's why they say like if you can visualize it and you can get it really clear, then you can actually go out there and do it.
J.D. Martinez hits it toward the right field corner, and there it goes, a grand slam. J.D. Martinez, he's got 5 hits with the Diamondbacks, 4 home runs.
I have to ask you this based on our pregame conversation. The bases were loaded. What were you visualizing, honestly, when you came up to the plate? What were you thinking?
Honestly, I was just trying to just hit the ball. I just wanted to put the ball in play. I know that if I just touch the ball, we can get a run in. So that's honestly what my goal was at bat, and I hit it, and it just got a good barrel on it, and it just went out.
Yeah, his 4th career grand slam, and how about this? Our State Farm winning combo, grand slams in both leagues in one season all time. 4 guys, the rarefied era that J.D. Martinez is now a part of, and that self-visualization technique. I'm telling you, it works. We'll take a short break. There's Robby Ray. He gets the ball. He's on the mound for game 2. Steve and Bob have the call. Diamondbacks baseball is next.
Diamondbacks baseball. We're at Busch Stadium. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly, and Todd Walsh along the way. Diamondbacks ready for the second game of this 4-game set with the Cardinals. And the former Cardinal, Daniel Descalso, will lead it off. It's your D-backs lineup, brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealer.
Yeah, Daniel Descalso, a late insertion into the lineup at third base tonight. A.J. Pollock will be out in center field. David Peralta in left. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. Last night's hero, J.D. Martinez, once again out in right field. Chris Owings at shortstop. Lower third of Brandon Drury at second. Chris Herman catching, and lefty Robby Ray on the mound.
Your Ram truck starter for St. Louis, the big right-hander Michael Wacha. He's a big guy out there. After all, 6'6", averaging a strikeout per inning this year. And with Wacha, Torey Lovullo says basically a fastball changeup approach.
Those are his 2 best pitches. Fastball, he will throw a 4-seamer. Occasionally, he'll cut that fastball a little bit. His changeup is his best out pitch. He'll go to that a lot in 2 strike counts. And he also mixes in an occasional curve. Good stuff. Big guy.
Nationwide Vision Centers gives us a look at the Cardinals defense.
Tommy Pham in left field. Harrison Bader out in center. Randall Grichuk in right field. It'll be Jed Jerko and Paul DeYoung on the left side of the infield, with Matt Carpenter playing second base tonight with Luke Voigt at first. Yadier Molina back in the lineup behind the plate, even though his feelings have been hurt. And the right-hander Michael Wacha on the mound.
He doesn't look tired. Greg Gibson behind the plate. He'll have the balls and strikes. Jim Wolf is our first base umpire. DJ Rayburn at second, and the crew chief Sam Holbrook is at third. Before we get going here, Bob, it's time for your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
Like to spread the wealth tonight. Diamondbacks scored 4 runs in the game last night on 1 swing of the bat. They like to get everybody involved. Those are the games we really like to see, when everybody gets involved offensively.
Strike 1 to Daniel Descalso, the former Cardinal. A late addition to the lineup. Jake Lamb was originally in there to start. A late change by Torey. Jake, just some general soreness after that running catch into the stands last night, so he felt like an off day today was the right thing. That is foul at first base, as Jim Wolf. And they wanted to give Jake a day to recuperate. He was just a little sore everywhere, going, head first into the seats. And plus, he really didn't get much of an all-star break at all, having played in the game. And he was trying to get him a day off. They pushed that back until I think it was Sunday. So it just all added up to, hey, let's just give you the day tonight. So he's just fine. He is available off the bench, Jake Lamb. And it's 1-2 on Descalso. Descalso's hit safely in 3 straight games. And that 2-run triple Wednesday against Atlanta. But Walker strikes him out to start off the ball game. That brings up A.J. Pollock. A.J. 303 and 5 homers. A couple of hits last night, including a double in that 4th inning. It was A.J.'s double that led off the inning, followed by walks to Lamb and Goldie before J.D. Martinez hit the grand slam. That was all the scoring in the ball game last night.
A real oddity in the ball game last night for A.J. Pollock. He was caught stealing twice in the same game. One a pickoff at first base, and the other one attempted steal of third.
Michael Wacha throwing strikes. When he's on his game, he is down in the zone. He's really good at keeping that ball down. Looks to give the hitter that strike one down in the zone and then work the other pitches off that. Mostly his outstanding changeup, but he's got a good cutter and a decent curveball. That's that cut fastball down and away from the right-hand hitter. It's 1-2. Wacha has lost only once since the end of May, but that came in his last start Sunday against the Cubs at Wrigley Field. Gave up 5 runs, 6 hits in 6 innings, a couple of homers as well. But only 2 starts ago, he pitched a shutout at Citi Field against the Nets. A 3-hit shutout, had 8 strikeouts. 2-2 on Pollock. It's a nice day today. We got sunny blue skies overhead. A lot of that humidity moved out. It's still hot, but not nearly as sticky and gross as it was yesterday.
Yeah, catching a real break here in St. Louis, at least for tonight. We'll see how tomorrow is, but yeah, this time of year in the Midwest, we know how it can get. So they're very fortunate to have a comfortable night here at the ballpark tonight.
Forecast for the weekend is fairly encouraging. Another good crowd here on a Friday night in St. Louis. Just over 39,000 in last night. Wacha's got it. 97-mile-an-hour fastball, 2 outs. David Peralta was originally in the leadoff spot. They decided to give Jake Lamb the night off, so David drops into the 3-hole. 315, 10 homers, 1 for 4 with a single last night. Sends that out to center field. Harrison Bader came in, now has to drift back, and Wacha works a 1-2-3 first. We're in St. Louis. Robby Ray coming up. Stadium in St. Louis, and your Ram truck starter for the Diamondbacks is the left-hander Robby Ray. A 3.15 ERA, that's the 5th best in the National League. Robby 4th in the league in strikeouts, but struggled somewhat. A bumpy first inning and a loss to the Nationals at Chase Field on Sunday.
And as I mentioned in the open, 4 strikeouts in each of his last 2 starts. That followed a 13 strikeout performance against the Los Angeles Dodgers in 6 innings. Yeah, we know when Robby's at his best, he's racking up the punch outs. Hopefully he'll be able to do that against this Cardinals lineup tonight.
Fastball command just was not there for Robby Ray early. He had a 39 pitch first inning versus Washington and really had to reset the compass from there. Spins Matt Carpenter around to lead off the bottom of the first for St. Louis. Carpenter, the second baseman tonight. 250 and 14 homers. Last night 1 for 4. He singled and struck out twice. Just the 11th start all year at second base for Matt Carpenter. That's where he used to play. Mike Matheny sitting Colton Wong against the lefty. Rookie Luke Voits at first. But Carpenter is certainly no sure thing here. He's hitting under 190 against left-hand pitching this year.
The only left-handed hitter in Mike Matheny's lineup tonight, the leadoff man Matt Carpenter.
Fastball is in there, and it's 2-2. Carpenter is a patient hitter. He's 4th in the major leagues in walks. He's walked nearly as much as he's struck out this year. In fact, his walk rate is a career high. Robby Ray strikes him out. Good start for Robby. Let's take a look at Mike Matheny's lineup. It's brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers. No bomb squad look tonight. The starters are in.
Pretty much the A team. Matt Carpenter leading it off at second base tonight. Tommy Pham making his way to the plate. He'll be out in left field. Paul DeYoung at shortstop. Jed Jerko back in the lineup at third base. Yadier Molina back in the lineup behind the plate. Randall Grichuk will be out in right field with Luke Voit at first. Harrison Bader in center and Michael Wacha on the mound.
Tommy Pham jumps on the first pitch and fouls that back. A 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Pham's a good player. 311 and 14 homers. Singled and struck out twice last night. He's hit safely in 4 straight. Homered here on Monday. Fastball missed, and it's 1-1. Pham has been tough on lefties this year. Over 320 versus left-hand pitchers with 5 home runs. Two balls and 1 strike. Robby Ray, you can hear him grunting from way up here. Looking for a much better first inning Sunday against the Nationals. 5 runs on 6 hits in that first. Pitch count got out of hand immediately, and Robby needed 101 pitches to get through 5 innings. His shortest outing since May 14th. Robby can't make the spinning backhand grab. Pham bounces one into center, a 1-out single. Nationwide Vision Centers presents the Diamondbacks defense tonight.
David Peralta will be in left field with A.J. Pollock in center. J.D. Martinez over in right. Third to first across the infield tonight. We have Descalso, Owings, Drury, and Goldschmidt. Chris Herman behind the plate for the lefty Robby Ray.
Tommy Pham, Bob, as you mentioned, really the only threat to run in this St. Louis lineup. He's got 13 stolen bases this year. Been caught 4 times. Here's their big power threat right now. It's the shortstop Paul DeYoung. Really got to pay attention to DeYoung, who's having a very good rookie season. Even last night when St. Louis couldn't get anything going offensively, DeYoung was on base 3 times, singled twice and walked. Fastball missed. It's 1-0.
Now, the single's not really that much of a surprise. DeYoung looks like a pretty good hitter. The walk was a huge surprise, only his 5th of the season.
He is a WW. Got a 7-game hitting streak coming into tonight, and he's hit home runs in 4 of those 7 games. (2-0). Robby in that rough first inning against the Nationals over the weekend threw 39 pitches in that first. Just couldn't locate the fastball. 4 runs, the most he allowed in any one inning all season long. Remember that game? It started with a leadoff homer to Washington's Brian Goodwin and just really got out of hand quickly.
I think it threw everybody into shock. Brian Goodwin, very good player, very good hitter, but I mean, he hit that ball way off the batter's eye out in center field. An absolute blast to center. I think that kind of rocked Robby a little bit, knocked him off his game.
Well, now he's fallen behind in the count to their number 3 hitter, 3-0. With Jed Jerko on deck. (13 pitches so far, only 5 for strikes. There's the 3-0 strike.
He's been behind every hitter he's faced so far. 2-0 to Carpenter to lead it off. 3-1 to Tommy Pham, and 3-0 to DeYoung before that strike on the 3-0 pitch.
Oliver Marmol coaching at first for the Cardinals. Mike Schilt coaches at third. They had a shake up of the Cardinals coaching staff this year. They changed some guys around under Mike McPhee. 3-1 to Paul DeYoung. Pham holds. That one's fouled back. A fastball, and it's full 3-2. St. Louis comes in here 2 under 500 on the year. They're 50-52. 4.5 games behind the Cubs National League Central lead, and 7.5 games out of a wild card spot.
Yeah, certainly you would expect Pham to be on the move here on the 3-2 pitch, even though there's only 1 out in the inning. As you mentioned, the best base stealer the Cardinals have.
Yeah, nobody else in the lineup has more than 7 stolen bases, and that's Yadier Molina. Came in with a fastball, a single and a walk with 1 out, and here's Jerko. Jed Jerko, 280, 14 home runs. He leads the Cardinals with those 51 RBIs. Coming off a night off last night. Tommy Pham is the runner at second. Paul DeYoung at first. Jerko is, and always has been, even going back to his San Diego days, a very aggressive swinger. Tried to ambush a first pitch fastball there. It's 0-1. That's near the Cardinal dugout. Goldie will give it a look, but it's out of play. Even Jake Lamb's not getting that one. That was quite a catch that Jake made against that short fence behind third base in foul ground last night. One of the catches of the year for the Diamondbacks. A little sore as a result tonight, so he's got the night off. Robby ahead 0-2. Jerko's been quiet offensively, 2 for his last 18 up there. Hitting under 200 in July. So he's starting to fade a little bit. Just blew the fastball right by him. Second strikeout for Robby Ray. 2 down.
Just rears back and blows one by Jed Jerko up there above the letters on the outer third of the plate.
The ovation for Molina. Coming off a controversial night off last night. 275, 10 homers. He leads the Cardinals in hits this year. He's had 2 hits in each of his last 3 games. Jumps on the first pitch, backs up Pollock, deep center field. AJ runs it down just shy of the wall out there. Molina gave it a ride, but Robby Ray survives the first and strands 2. Yadier Molina a little frustrated. The frustration continues in St. Louis. No score. The second. D-backs fans, don't forget to stop by your local Fry. Stock up on Aquafina water using your VIP card. You could win a chance to participate in the Jake Lamb Fantasy Camp or win game-worn gear and autographed items. See the store display for official rules and details. Michael Wacha coming off a 1-2-3 first. Paul Goldschmidt leads off the second. Oldie 317, 21 home runs. That OPS is 5th best of the major leagues. Singled twice and walked last night. How about that reaction from Yadier Molina there? He drove Pollock all the way back to the wall in center. Slammed his helmet down.
I think Yadier recognized the moment. If he steps up there and goes deep on the first pitch he sees after what transpired last night and earlier this afternoon, suddenly he's the hero, more so than he already is here at this ballpark.
You better believe it. If you're just joining us, his day off yesterday reached Ferris Bueller proportions around here. Mike Matheny came to a dead stop when he was about to say the word tired yesterday. He didn't say it, but he was about to. Said he caught a lot. You know, you could tell by watching Yanni go around the bases that he's, you know.
And then the person that wrote the article for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch happened to be an intern that picked up on that, and he's the guy that plugged the word tired.
Ah. And Molina then took to his Instagram accounts and said, "I'm not tired. The day I feel tired, I'll express it myself." So there was a little tiff there with the manager, but Molina put out that fire here today before the ball game. JD Martinez in there now. This was big news all over Sports Talk Radio in St. Louis, of course. And Molina said before the game today that he felt he had to defend himself, because when you see in the paper that the manager said you look tired on the bases and you're really not, he said that's not good. And he wanted to make it clear, I'm not tired, I'm ready to go. So that should be the end of it here. Jerko at third, Carpenter at second, and Voit at first. They roll the double play. Two down in the second. Here's Chris Owings. CO trying to get it going. 0 for 4, a couple of strikeouts in his start at second base last night. Now just under 270 with 12 homers. Torey Lovullo asked before the game today a lot about CO. And he said he really respects the way Chris Owings is wearing it right now. He is struggling. It's out there for everybody to see, but Chris is not getting down. He's not hiding from it at all. Two big ground balls for Waka. Gets him 3 outs. Erases the leadoff walk. Scoreless in St. Louis. They built in downtown St. Louis. We're set for the bottom of the second inning. Robby Ray, the Coors Light Cold Hard Facts, he has been among baseball's best pitchers on the road this year. In fact, 5-1 in 9 road starts and a 1.51 road ERA. That's the best in the major leagues.
Pretty good group right there. I'll take those 5 and take my chances.
I think you do pretty well. Although 2 of those guys are on the DL right now,
Yeah.
Kershaw and Strasburg. Randall Grichuk, the right fielder, leads off the bottom of the second against Robby Ray. Stays away from the fastball on the first pitch to Grichuk, who's in there at 235 with 13 home runs. Slider missed in. It's 1-1. Grichuk 0 for 4 last night. He struck out. He hit into a double play. Belts that one at third. What a scoop by Descalso down there. Nice and smooth. Daniel Descalso, the former Cardinal, 1 down.
Yeah, they don't call it the hot corner for nothing. Good reactions by Daniel Descalso. Third base is very much a reaction position. That ball gets on you so quickly. That first movement sometimes makes the difference in whether it's a base hit or an out at first base. Daniel Descalso with a nice backhanded pick.
That was pretty. Big right hand hitter Luke Voit now. 246 and 3 homers. He grounded out as a pinch hitter last night. Oh! Robby Ray hit in the head by a line drive back to the mound. Ryan DePanfilo sprinted out to the mound. He was just about the first one there. Here comes Ken Crenshaw. The two athletic trainers attending to Robby Ray here at St. Louis.
All right, you can see the concern on Luke Voigt's part over there. Came in from first base to sit with the Diamondbacks infield and see how Robby Ray's going to be.
He appeared to be holding the top of his head. It looked like it got him in the top of the head, and he's sitting up. Here comes a cart in from the right field corner. That's going to park right behind the mound now at Busch Stadium. Luke Voigt was having a big year with the Cardinals AAA club in Memphis this season. Mostly a bat off the bench for Mike Matheny this year, getting the start against a left-hander. And that ball was absolutely smoked right back to the mound.
Mike Butcher and Torey Lovullo talking over who would be next if necessary, and you certainly would think that Robby's going to come out of this ball game. We talked about it last night. The Diamondbacks are going with a 7-man bullpen right now. They really don't have a legitimate long man unless you consider Jorge De La Rosa that guy.
Robby is up on his feet, towel wrapped around his head, and he just waved to the crowd, giving him a standing ovation. So Robby, that's a very encouraging sign. There's Luke Voigt, who hit the baseball right near the cart, wishing Robby the best. You can see where it got him. It appears right on the back of the head there, but he just gave the fans here a big wave and the AOK sign, and that'll end Robby's night. That was scary.
Whoa, it's always scary. I mean, we saw Daniel Descalso, who was probably standing 115 feet away from home plate, and his reaction to pick that ball out of the dirt and get it out. Robby Ray, by the time he releases the ball, is probably only about 55, 50 feet from home plate. Just not enough time to react.
By the way, we should mention, just for official purposes, that Daniel Descalso caught that baseball.
Yeah.
And so Voigt, the batter, is out. T.J. McFarland, the left-hander, is probably the only guy back there that can give Torey some real length right now. And by length, you're talking about 3 innings at most for T.J. He'll come out here and get all the time he needs to get ready. But Bobby, certainly based on the way Robby was reacting to the crowd, it looked encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, it appeared he had his wits about him. Eyes were wide open. He was talking to the trainers, talking to Torey Lovullo, and gave a fist bump to his catcher, Chris Herman, as the cart took him away. Certainly we'll keep our fingers crossed for the best news for Robby.
Well, we want to show it to you one time, and here's a wide look at what happened. He had his back turned to the hitter as part of his follow-through. Descalso made a really tremendous running catch in foul ground, and then immediately saw that Robby was down. Chris Herman, the catcher, ran out there. And now McFarland warms up as Robby Ray is being attended to. We'll take a quick break here in St. Louis. Back right after this. The Cardinals and the Diamondbacks. No score. Robby Ray has been hit in the back of the head by a line drive. Robby waving to the crowd, appeared to be okay, but he's getting checked out right now. So it's the Ashline call to the bullpen. TJ McFarland comes on here with 2 outs in the second inning. And he has been one of the best signings made by the Diamondbacks front office this year. Signed as a minor league free agent back on March the 2nd. Now in terms of length here, TJ would be the guy. He's gone 3 innings several times this season, but the last time was May 31st at Pittsburgh, when he wound up getting the win in that 14-inning twice rain delayed game at PNC Park. And since then, May 31st, he's pitched 2 innings, let's see, only twice, the last time being July 16th in Atlanta. So TJ will give Torey Lovullo as much as he can here, and you just hope for the best.
Yeah, because the exit was so early for Robby Ray here in the second inning with 2 outs. So you get the feeling Torey and Mike Butcher are over there in that dugout right now trying to figure out the puzzle of Diamondbacks pitching the rest of this ball game. Obviously, you want to get as much as you can out of McFarland without risking injury to him, and then try to patchwork it together with the other 6 guys available.
And of course, as soon as the Diamondbacks provide us with some information on Robby Ray's condition, we'll pass it along to you immediately. But obviously, we're not going to speculate, but at least we were encouraged by what we saw when Robby Ray was carted off here, waving to the fans who gave him a standing ovation. So bases empty, 2 outs and a scoreless second. Here's the center fielder, Harrison Bader. Bader, the rookie, only 3 games into his big league career, 4 for 12 so far. He was 0 for 4 in his start last night, struck out 3 times. That's foul down to third. It's 2-1.
And one thing we learned about Bader in the ball game last night, he can run. Boy, did he get down that first baseline a couple times last night. Covers a lot of ground out there in center field. Good looking athlete.
Right. That one goes off the back of TJ McFarland. Bader can really run, and he beats that one out. Let's go downstairs to Todd, who's standing next to the Diamondback dugout. Todd.
Guys, as you can probably imagine, a sobering moment down here. Lots of quiet conversations taking place after Robby Ray was carted off the field. I did just talk to Diamondbacks manager Torey Lovullo for just a moment about this game moving forward. Said simply, how long do you think he can get out of TJ McFarland? He said point blank, as long as he can go. So here we go, trying to piece together this game. But obviously there's a lot of thoughts about the guy that went off the field on that cart down here, and we'll update you as we can.
Cardinals will clear the pitcher spot. Walker now with Bader at first and 2 outs.
Walker 2 for 31 this season. That's an .065 batting average, which pretty much follows his career. He's 15 for 172. That's .087 over the course of his career. They don't pay him to hit.
TJ McFarland has that one, and that ends the bottom of the second. Diamondbacks and Cardinals at Busch Stadium, no score. we start the third. Fans, MLB.tv, it's your choice every night, every device. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game live and get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply, so visit MLB.tv for all the details. As we start the top of the third, Brandon Drury, Chris Herman, and the pitcher spot due up for the Diamondbacks. Well, it's just so hard to continue on with baseball normalcy after something like that.
Yeah, hopefully we get some kind of word on Robby Ray's condition before the evening is over here. I'm sure they're running a battery of tests right now. And once again, you just keep your fingers crossed that it was a good sign that Robby was able to acknowledge the ovation he got from the crowd here. And as I mentioned, fist bumped Chris Herman on his way off the field on the back of the cart.
He was sitting up on the side of the mound fairly quickly. He wasn't down for a long time, and there didn't appear to be any blood on the mound or on the towel as Ryan DePanfilo went sprinting out there. So we'll take all of those as encouraging signs and certainly hope for the best for Robby. Brandon Drury leads off the third against Michael Wacha. Drury trying to get his summer turned around offensively. 277, 8 home runs. Did not appear in the ball game last night.
Hey, you look at Michael Wacha, you can't help but think of all the tall, slender, right-handed starting pitchers that the Cardinals have run out there over recent years, going back to Matt Morris, the late Darryl Kyle.
Drury reaches out and pokes that one down the right field line. Grichuk in foul ground. There's not much of it over there, and he runs out of room. Yeah, he's a big guy, Michael Wacha, at 6'6".
Yeah, you go on to Chris Carpenter, Adam Wainwright, 6'7". You mentioned Wacha, 6'5", 6'6". Even last night's starter Luke Weaver at 6'2". He's the runt of the group, but it just seems like the Cardinals always have one tall, lean, right-handed starter in their rotation.
Michael Wacha out of Texarkana, Texas. First-round pick by the Cardinals. Out of Texas A&M, he's an Aggie. That was in the draft 5 years ago. 1-2 on Brandon Drury. Fastball is there. Second strikeout for Wacha.
Brandon Drury caught looking at a couple of fastballs, one for strike one, one for strike three, and swung at the bad breaking ball out of the zone for strike two.
Well, here's the thing about the Diamondbacks lineup tonight. Chris Owings is batting sixth. CO is now in a 3-for-40 skid. Brandon Drury has hit 200 in his last 25 games. Chris Herman is 4 for his last 49. And then you've got the pitcher spot. So 6 through 9 in the order here. All these guys are all struggling right now, trying to dig their way out. Cardinals have the shift on for Herman. Didn't go, says Sam Holbrook, and it's 2-1. Ken Crenshaw checking in with Torey Lovullo. Swing and a miss at a fastball. There's Herman shaking that right hand. He's done that all year long. When he fouls off a pitch or takes a hard swing and a miss, Chris immediately goes to that right hand and kind of shakes it off. It's clearly not right.
Especially on the swings and misses, as you mentioned.
This is a high bouncer behind the mound. And they get Herman at first. DeYoung, the shortstop, the 6-3 putout, 2 down. Yeah, we've seen Chris. I can remember back as far as maybe late April, early May, he was doing that. And that's got to at least contribute to his recent struggles at the plate. So T.J. McFarland, who came on for Robby Ray when Robby was struck in the head by that line drive, will take the at bat in the top of the third.
Two previous at bats this season for T.J. McFarland. He struck out in both those ABs. Probably wasn't expecting to get an at bat in this one tonight.
It can never be easy when you're sitting with your feet up in the bullpen in the second inning and suddenly says, hey, get in there now. TJ waves at that one. 3 strikeouts for Michael Wacha. Yet to give up a base hit. No score in St. Louis. St. Louis. No score. The Diamondbacks and the Cardinals in the bottom of the third. Time for the Unlimited Baseball break, brought to you by T-Mobile. A check on the National League wild card standings. The Diamondbacks game and a half ahead of the Rockies for that first wild card spot. Colorado rained out at Washington tonight. They'll play a split doubleheader Sunday at Nats Park. Brewers, who are now trailing the Cubs in the NL Central, and that factors them into the wild card, only 4.5 out. They are leading Chicago right now at Miller Park. Pirates are in San Diego. Dodgers are home tonight, opening up a series against the Giants. That's Alex Wood and Matt Moore. D-backs are 12 games behind LA in the NL West. Here's Matt Carpenter, leads off the St. Louis third. He struck out his first time up against Robby Ray. Really shaping up to be a miserable offensive summer for Matt Carpenter. It was anyway. He hit just .226 over May and June. That's a long 2-month stretch of .226. But he's picked it up this month. He's hitting just about .315 in July. So he's been a little better lately. There's a 2-0 strike.
Now the pitching changed by the Diamondbacks for all the wrong reasons. Robby Ray getting struck in the head with a line drive, but completely different style of pitcher. Both left-handers, T.J. McFarland and Robby Ray. Robby Ray, a fly ball strikeout pitcher, likes to work up in the zone with that high velocity fastball. T.J. McFarland, a sinker slider guy, relies on keeping the ball down in movement to try to get some soft contact on the ground.
And T.J. has been a very good ground ball pitcher coming out of the Diamondback bullpen. And he's been a lot like Robby Ray. very good on the road. Tommy Pham is on deck. TJ in 14 road games this year has an ERA under 1.86. Called strike 3. Got Carpenter looking as he strikes out for the second time tonight.
Yeah, Greg Gibson likes that low strike. He rang up Brandon Drury on a low fastball. This time TJ McFarland maybe nips the bottom of the zone right there with a 92-mile-an-hour sinker.
Remember all that talk this spring about how the strike zone was supposed to go up?
Mm-hmm. How are we doing?
Yeah, not so much. Tommy Pham singled in his first at bat tonight. The left fielder. Pham is having a very good month at the plate. He's hitting almost 360 in July with 5 home runs. 314 on the year. The high bouncer to Owings at shortstop. 2 down for TJ McFarland. Here's Paul DeJong now. Paul DeJong has produced so consistently since the middle of last month that last year's starter at shortstop, Aledmys Diaz, who was leading the league in hitting for a while last year, has stayed at AAA Memphis, while DeJong has become the everyday guy here at the big league level. He's played good defense. He's hit a bunch of homers. He spent most of his time at shortstop in the Arizona Fall League. That was just last year. So Valley baseball fans may have seen him playing for Glendale, where he didn't hit a whole lot there. Hit .232 in the Fall League last year. But he's been a lot better than that here. Started out playing shortstop, third base in spring training, but he's become the everyday guy at short. That's the spot he prefers to play.
There's a school of thought out there that it's easier to hit at the major league level than it is in the minor leagues. Better lights, better conditions. The pitchers are around the plate more often. You don't have to worry about a guy airmailing one behind your helmet, either intentionally or accidentally. So, you know, sometimes a guy like DeJong just decides, I'm going to start swinging. I'm going to be more aggressive. I'm going to attack those pitches in the strike zone, and he's had a real good run.
Yeah, he was brought up to the big leagues for the first time in his career at the end of May. That's when Colton Wong got hurt, so he filled in at second base. He did okay, hit about 240 or so, but only played a dozen games before he was sent back down to the minors. But then it was only a week later before Colton Wong got hurt again. So DeJong was on his way back up, and he's done nothing but hit ever since. This is high in the air along the right field line. JD Martinez runs out of room. And DeJong, since that second call up, which was June 15th, so it's been just about 6 weeks or so. Since then, he's hit .310 with 13 homers playing shortstop every day.
Boy, just getting a taste of the major leagues is great incentive to get back to the big leagues once you get sent down to the minor leagues.
Better believe it. Memphis doesn't look so hot after this. Here's Colton Wong, who's been off and on the DL all year long. The second baseman has the night off tonight. A little roller to shortstop. One more time for CO. 1, 2, 3, third for TJ McFarland. No score at Busch Stadium. Fans, Crystal Pepsi's Throwback Tour is coming to Phoenix. And Sugar Ray's Mark McGrath will headline a post-game street concert Friday, August 11th after the D-backs game against the Cubs. For more information, dbacks.com/concert. I may stick around for that.
I just want to fly.
Daniel Descalso, the third baseman tonight, leads off the fourth against Michael Wacha, who has yet to give up a base hit. Wacha has walked one, struck out three. He's retired the last five he's faced. Descalso struck out to lead off the ball game. Right back to the mound, broken bat. Boy, Michael Wacha, when he's really on top of his game, is great at keeping the ball down. He's out there at 6'6", so he really is throwing downhill at you with that fastball changeup mix. It's a four-seamer that averages 95 and can get pretty fair north of that. He'll mix in a lot of cut fastballs as well, and then a very good changeup. And just enough curveballs to keep you thinking about it. A.J. Pollock. There's one right there.
And that changeup you mentioned is a Zach Greinke-like changeup. He throws it very hard, 86, 87, 88 miles an hour.
And that's a good example of that cut fastball right there. He's been really good at spotting that cutter on the outer half of the strike zone against righties. It tails away from the right-hand pitcher to the right-hand batter, and that location you just saw right there is where he's been living with that cut fastball all year long. Really good at fastball into the right-hand hitter on the arm side and cutter away on the glove side. And for the most part all year long he's kept the ball out of the middle of the plate. Really spotting it well. Right field for Grichuk.
Hey fans, the D-backs home run tonight means a free Jumbo Jack tomorrow at participating Jack in the Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
7 straight retired by Michael Wacha. Diamondbacks still looking for their first base hit. Here's David Peralta flying out to center his first time up. Peralta's hit safely in 13 of his last 15 games. Batting over .330 during that stretch. 1 for 4 with a single here last night. There's a strike, and it's 1-1. Molina wants it down. Curveball, just did get a piece of that. Good example of Michael Wacha keeping that ball down. He's one of those guys that can consistently work down at the bottom of the strike zone. Another one right there. Carpenter at second. 8 straight set down by Wacha. 4 hitless innings, no score. D-backs and Cardinals. Jed Jerko leads off the home half of the fourth.
0. Cardinals have the only 2 hits in the ball game as we head to the bottom half of the 4th inning. Our Cox
look at that.
high-speed highlights. Boy, and it was high-speed fishing today.
Now, this was your secret fishing hole. You and some of your staff left the hotel at 4:30 this morning. And, boy, it looked like a very productive day.
Yeah, there's our buddy John Casey right there who has the boat. He takes us out to the lake when we're in town. John, I met him through John Mabry, the hitting coach of the St. Louis Cardinals. John was with the Chicago Cubs at the time, and we got to talking about fishing around the batting cage one day, and he mentioned that he had a friend in St. Louis that knew every lake in the area, and John didn't lie. And by the way, John Casey, our fishing buddy, wants to say hello to a good friend of his, Joy Burton, back in Glendale. Big Diamondbacks fan watching the game tonight. John says hello.
Now, I heard, doubled the amount of fish caught by the rest of the party.
Well, what can I say?
Were you using a special, you're out there with a bobber and a worm, right?
Well, we had rubber worms and rubber crawdads and various other forms of bait, but I found out very quickly anything with a little bit of purple in it. So I went into the purple vault. I found a couple of worms in there that had some purple flecks in it, and man, fish like those.
You're not the only guy with a purple vault, huh? Jed Jerko.
Well, a very comfortable day until the very end. It started sneaking up on noon. The sun got high in the sky, and it started to heat up a little bit out there on the water. But otherwise, an absolutely beautiful day on the lake. Hopefully, an even better night here at the ballpark.
Well, you look like you crushed it, certainly.
Yep. Fun day. I mean, between the 3 of us, we probably caught around 75 or 80 bass. It's
wow.
Lost count.
That's a lot of bass. That's good bass.
That's good bass.
Bass-o-matic. 3-2 on Jerko to open up the 4th against T.J. McFarland, who is on in relief of Robby Ray. For just joining us, Robby struck in the head by a line drive off the bat of the Cardinals' Luke Voigt in the 2nd inning. He was carted off the field, waving to the fans in the stands. We don't have any information as of yet on Robby's condition. He's still being looked at, but the signs that we saw were encouraging. But he was struck right in the back of the head by a wicked line drive. So T.J. McFarland has come on in relief. Got the final out of the 2nd, pitch to 1-2-3 third. Jerko just taps one by Goldie at first. Talk about hitting it where they ain't. And he's slowly digging for 2nd. It's a double for Jerko. Goldie was well off the line for the right-hand batter, and Jerko just tapped it fair by the first base bag.
You could probably count on one hand the number of times Jed Jerko's hit a ball between the first baseman and the foul line. He just does not go that direction. Kind of an emergency swing on a pitch low and away, and bounced it past Goldie for a double down into the right field corner.
Yadier Molina now. Molina came up with 2 on and 2 out in the 1st and hit a rocket to deep center. But A.J. Pollock caught just about 2 steps shy of the wall out there. So Jerko's at 2nd and nobody out. Molina has 2 hits in each of his last 3 games. Backdoor breaking ball is in there for strike 1.
The defense is playing pretty much straight up. A.J. Pollock in center field, maybe a step or 2 over into the gap in right center. Yadier Molina is not a dead pull hitter, especially with runners in scoring position. He's more than willing to go to the opposite field.
Molina really hitting the ball well right now. He's batting almost .330 in his last 13 games. He's had a very good start to the 2nd half of the year after his 8th visit to the All-Star game, where he now famously took that picture of Nelson Cruz of the Cowboy Joe West at home plate in the middle of that game at Marlins Park. That was a fun moment. Pitched inside, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Molina leading the Cardinals in hits this year. His 14th major league season. Just turned 35 a couple of weeks ago. Two and two. On a ground to second, Jerko has to stay put. Owens retires Molina for the first out in the bottom of the 4th. Well, Molina can't get the ball to the right side. That'll bring up Randal Grichuk. Grichuk grounded out to third his first time up. 0 for 5 in the series. 234 on the year. Grichuk was hitless last night. That snapped a 6-game hitting streak for him. He had homered 4 times during that 6-game streak.
Now, going into last night's game, he was coming off a 4-hit game against Colorado Rockies. 3 of those 4 hits coming to the opposite field.
Fastball missed. It's 1-0. Grichuk only back 7 games from a brief stint on the disabled list. He was out a couple of weeks earlier this month, had a lower back strain. High chopper to third. To Scalzo on the backhanded short hop. Not quite able to collect it. And Grichuk's aboard. Tricky play there for Descalso.
Yeah, he just tries to smother it. It's actually a big hop. Comes up waist high. Had it in the glove. And when he went to make the exchange into the bare hand, just lost a handle on the ball. That should be an infield hit, I would think, for Randal Grichuk. Yes, indeed it is.
So first and second with 1 out, and Luke Voigt, who hit the liner back to the mound that caromed off Robby Ray's head, is the hitter, the first baseman tonight.
Tell you, a more adventurous, maybe a faster runner at second base would have advanced on either one of the last 2 batted balls. The ground ball kind of up the middle by Yadier Molina. An aggressive base runner probably breaks for third, knowing that Chris Owings is moving to his left to make the play. And then that little tapper forcing Daniel Descalso to come in front of the bag to make the play. A lot of runners would advance right behind him.
They go to second for 1, and McFarland starts the double play. Nicely done, T.J. McFarland. A double play ball ends the threat and keeps it scoreless through 4.
All of them, no score up to this point. Time to take a look at this day in baseball history, brought to you by Geico. Dick Ellsworth of the Cubs struck out Stan Musial 3 times in a 5-1 victory for the Cubs. It'll be the only time in Musial's career he struck out 3 times in a game during his 22-year career. 3,026 ball games, and he struck out 3 times in a game once.
Stan the Man, a 3-time MVP. He won 7 batting titles. Stan Musial went to 24 All-Star games. That's amazing.
That is amazing.
A career .331 hitter. Paul Goldschmidt leads off the 5th inning of a scoreless ball game here. Michael Wacha 4 hitless innings so far. He's retired the last 8 batters he's faced ever since Goldie's walked to lead off the 2nd.
And we went with the St. Louis themed Geico this day in baseball history today with Stan Musial, but there was a bunch of other ones. Brooks Robinson, who won 16 Gold Gloves in his career back in '71. He made 3 errors in a game on this day.
It can happen to anybody, right?
Yeah, 1970. Angels catcher Tom Egan charged with 5 pass balls and then made an error to allow the winning run to score. Ooh, hide the razor blades.
Well, Wacha walked Goldie to lead off the 2nd. Now he's behind on him again here, 3-1.
And then one of my favorites, 1985, Darrell Evans, former teammate of mine, hit his 300th home run on a 3-0 count at exactly 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow, that's creepy. 3-2 fastball, swing and a miss. 4th strikeout for Wacha. That's 9 in a row. He's retired. And here's J.D. Martinez.
And when you face good pitchers, and Michael Wacha is a good pitcher, make no mistake about that, you hope he makes a mistake, and you hope as a hitter you're prepared to take advantage of that mistake. The problem with Wacha is he just doesn't make a lot of mistakes in the middle of the plate. He'll miss down out of the zone. He'll miss away out of the zone. If he's trying to come in, he's going to miss off the plate if he misses his spot. Some pitchers just have that ability to keep the ball out of the middle.
Yeah, he's excelled at that this year. It's made a big difference for him. The command of the fastball has been outstanding, and then he mixes in that really good changeup. And like you just saw there, the occasional curveball.
Yeah, coming into this inning, he had thrown 24 fastballs in the game, 20 of them for strikes.
Michael Wacha, only 2 starts ago, blanked the Mets 5-0 at Citi Field, a 3-hit shutout. That was his first start after the All-Star break. It was his first career shutout. He's lost only once since the end of May. He fell behind on Goldie, 3-1. Struck him out. Now it's 3-1 on J.D. Martinez. J.D. hit into a double play his first time up. Another ground ball. This one to DeYoung at shortstop.
Yeah, 2 years ago, Michael Wacha was a 17-game winner in 30 starts. Last season had some shoulder issues, only made 24 starts, has 7-7 record, and his ERA climbed up over 5 last season.
60 pitches, 37 strikes. Chris Owings grounded out his first time up. Funny thing about Wacha this year, he had one stretch where he was awful, really bad, from late May all the way through the end of June. A stretch of 6 straight starts, and he failed to get past the 4th inning 5 times. Wow. That was a 6-start stretch during which his ERA was 8.17, and there was talk that maybe he's done, he's a mess, got to fix this, send him to the bullpen. But he instantly came up with a course correction, and he's been outstanding. I mean, imagine that. He goes 6 starts in a row. 5 times he can't get past the 4th inning. But he has been outstanding here tonight, ahead of Owings 0-2. CEO drives one deep left center field. Pham stumbled trying to get there, And it gets to the wall. Chris Owings digging for second. Diamondbacks' first hit is a 2-out double in the 5th. Good for CO.
Looked like a cut fastball. That was a mistake. Stayed up over the heart of the plate, and Chris Owings ready to take advantage of a mistake. Bangs it into the gap in left center for a 2-out double.
That snaps a 3 for 40 stretch at the plate for Chris. Chance to get the first run across here. Owings at second, 2 down for Brandon Drury, who struck out his first time up. And check his swing. Got that slow curveball. Well, you know, you go up there and you've been watching the guy just dot fastballs and cutters mid-90s, and he just throws that slow curveball up at you first pitch. Really caught Drury off balance there.
And Brandon took a first pitch fastball in his first at bat of the game, outer third of the plate, middle of the thighs. Fell behind in the count immediately. He was ready to ambush that first pitch fastball, but didn't get it.
Now Walker missed his spot with that fastball down and away, and it's 1-1. He was really in a groove. He'd retired 10 straight before the Owings double. Getting a whole bunch of ground ball outs. 1-1 on Brandon Drury. Fastball's a strike, and it's 1-2. Like a changeup there that missed. 2 balls and 2 strikes. You can always see Yadier Molina when he wants that changeup or that curveball. Tap that glove on the ground. Keep it down. Walker has excelled at that today. And really for most of this year. But it's a dead giveaway from the viewer's perspective that it's either a changeup or a curveball coming. Didn't go, says Jim Wolf, and Drury's worked the count full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Chris Herman is the on deck hitter. Molina wants to talk it over.
Now, Chris Owings has seen a number of pitches from his vantage point out there at second base during the course of this Brandon Drury at bat. And the Cardinals just want to make sure on this 3-2 pitch that CO is not relaying anything to Brandon Drury.
Owings 2-out double in this inning. The first Diamondbacks hit tonight against Michael Walker. He has walked 1, struck out 4 so far. Owings at second, 2 outs, 3-2 on Brandon Drury. Theo breaks for third. There's a bouncer to DeYoung at shortstop. And Walker strands the double. We'll head to the home half of the 5th. No score at Busch Stadium.
Todd Walsh, we welcome you back. And Steve and Bob, between innings after that last half, in fact, pitching coach Mike Butcher had an extended conversation with pitcher T.J. McFarland, and looks like full speed ahead for him as he continues in relief of Robby Ray. His longest outing in relief at the major league level last April 22nd. He went 5 innings at Kansas City, 3 hits, no runs, while with the Baltimore Orioles. But I can just tell you that the sense down here, just outside this dugout, is that he really calmed the situation down when he went out on the mound and just really started to turn that lineup of the St. Louis Cardinals and set them down. This game could have gotten out of hand quickly if this team was distracted at all, and I think it starts right there with the pitcher on the mound, and he did that thus far. Steve?
Sure did, Todd. He got the final out of that second inning, and then a 1-2-3 third, and a double play ball to end a Cardinal threat in the fourth. So it's been, Bob, 13 scoreless innings for Diamondbacks pitchers so far to begin this series.
I love that. I'll tell you one thing I liked about T.J. McFarland coming into this game under unfortunate circumstances. When a pitcher gets injured, the relief pitcher gets as many warm-up pitches as he needs, as that one's pulled foul down the third baseline. And your natural instinct is to try to hurry because everybody in the ballpark is waiting for you to get ready. But T.J. McFarland went through his normal routine. He threw enough pitches that he felt like he was ready to compete against this Cardinals offense, and so far so good.
And to this point, as Harrison Bader, the center fielder, leads off the fifth, he's worked 2 1/3. Just under 40 pitches. Snuck that one in the back door for strike 2. TJ's longest outings this season, back-to-back appearances of 3 innings in relief, May 28th and May 31st. So it's been nearly 2 months since he's gone longer than 2 innings. T.J. McFarland out of Palos Hills, Illinois. That's not too far from here. Pitched at Amos Alonzo Stagg High School there. 4th round pick by Cleveland back in the 07 draft. 28-year-old left-hander. Full count on Bader, the rookie. 3-2 with a walk of the pitcher on deck. Bader playing only his 4th ever major league game. This is hit pretty deep right center. J.D. Martinez just shy of the track. 1 out. Tell you what, Bader's looked pretty good. He's got 5 hits so far through just under 4 games. He's run down some balls in center field. He can really run. A pretty good looking player, just 23 years old.
Hey, partner, I have one more this day in baseball history for you, which is noteworthy for a couple of different reasons. El Presidente Dennis Martinez, pitching for the Expos, shut out the Dodgers 2-0 on a perfect game
at Dodger Stadium.
That's the last time the Dodgers lost
ever.
Also, Ron Hassey caught that game. He's the first backstop in Major League history to catch 2 perfect games. He caught Dennis Martinez for the Expos. He also caught the perfect game by Len Barker of the Cleveland Indians.
That Lenny Barker perfecto was at Municipal Stadium on a freezing cold day. You can still watch that game on the old interweb there. Large Lenny Barker.
I faced Len Barker in spring training at old Scottsdale Stadium when he was pitching for the Indians, and Dwayne Kuiper was my teammate and had played with Len Barker in Cleveland. So I went to Kuiper, you know, good teammate. And Len Barker's signature pitch was that big bending curveball as Walker grounds 1 to second base. Should be no problem for Drury. 2 down. So I went to Kuiper. I said, hey, what's Barker got? Well, he said, first of all, he's not going to throw you curveballs. He never throws his curveball in spring training. So just go up there and look fastball. I fouled off the first fastball, 0-1. Took a called strike on the outside corner, 0-2. And he threw me the curveball from hell. And I fell on my back in the right-handed batter's box, and it broke right across the middle of the plate for a called strike 3. And as I walked back to the dugout, Kuiper was at the end of the bench laughing, had his mouth covered. Everybody on the bench was laughing at me. What a teammate. Never throws his curveball in spring training.
Yeah, Kuiper was playing in that Len Barker perfect game for the Indians. Well, we have Some news on Robby Ray. Diamondbacks Twitter account saying Robby Ray was alert and sent to the hospital right nearby for further testing. And that's all the news we have on Robby's condition. Struck in the what appeared to be the back of the head by a Luke Voigt line drive in the second inning. And he was carted off the field waving to the fans, which was good news. But the update from the Diamondbacks, Robby Ray alert, sent to the hospital for more tests. Here's Torey Lovullo and Mike Butcher trying to patch together a pitching plan here. And all things considered, the fact that T.J. McFarland is a strike away from getting them through 5 scoreless innings is pretty remarkable. 0-2 on Matt Carpenter, who so far has struck out twice, once against Robby and once against T.J. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks. Just missed with a fastball. It's 1-2. Carpenter. He let that pitch go by and then just froze there in the same position, ready to go. That was weird.
You notice Matt Carpenter occasionally will take a practice swing choked up halfway on the bat. Yeah, we saw Joey Votto when we played the Reds, how he steps across home plate and then back into the left-handed batter's box. We saw Bryce Harper do his bat tap on home plate and then knock his right foot a couple of times with the bat. David Peralta's got his little thing he does, you know, when he puts his hand up to his mouth as he's looking out towards the mound. And Carpenter's got a little tick himself.
Into the shift, Brandon Drury from deep on the outfield grass. Another 1-2-3 inning for T.J. McFarland. No score through 5. In St. Louis, no score. D-backs and Cardinals. Diamondbacks fans, if you can't watch the games on your television, then stream them live on your mobile device. Use Fox Sports Go. It's presented by your Valley Honda dealers. Just download the free app and you'll be able to take Fox Sports Arizona and the Diamondbacks with you wherever you go. Just one hit for the D-backs so far against right-hander Michael Wacha. That was Chris Owings' 2-out double in the 5th. He has walked 1, struck out 4. Chris Herman, who grounded out his first time up, leads off the 6th. Chris Herman right now in a 4 for 50 at the plate. First pitch fastball fouled away, and it's 0-1. Even with the Herminator not getting that concrete result that he'd like to see at the plate, Torey Lovullo still likes his at-bats. He's getting his pitch, working counts. He's not changing things. He's not panicking. He's not rushing to get the at-bat over with. They really like what they see from Chris. There's nothing tangible to show for it, but the process hasn't changed. He's still up there looking for the pitch he wants, and that's what Torey believes has been so impressive about Chris through this difficult stretch here. But it seems like he's been down 0-2, 1-2 forever. Herman shoots one the other way, but Pham is there. 1 out.
That's what happens when you're in a little bit of a funk offensively. You finally do make good solid contact and drive the ball to the opposite field right at the left fielder.
Well, TJ McFarland, who has now gone 3 1/3 innings in relief, his longest appearance of the season, will take the at bat with 1 out in the 6th. There is no one warming up in the Diamondback bullpen.
I would expect to see a parade of right-handers out of that bullpen if and when TJ McFarland comes out of this game. We mentioned only one left-handed hitter in the starting lineup for the Cardinals tonight. That's the leadoff man, Matt Carpenter.
And this goes back to last night, how one game, one performance can start a chain reaction. You can build on that because Godley was so good last night. Archie Bradley and Fernando Rodney, the only 2 relievers who worked last night, and each guy threw only 1 inning. So the bullpen is in pretty decent shape right now. Walker thought he had it there, but missed on the fastball. Greg Gibson didn't bite to count his full 3-2.
You saw Walker asking Greg Gibson there, was that up? Like a pretty good pitch.
He thought so. Descalso will be next. TJ putting up a fight here. Torey Lovullo has seen and had seen TJ McFarland pitch for years when TJ was in Baltimore and Torey was in both Toronto and Boston. Always liked him, and he's pitched so well this year. Jericho from third throws him out, 2 down. Well, the former Cardinal now, Daniel Descalso. He began his career with 5 seasons right here in St. Louis, including their World Series championship team in 2011. This is part of what makes him such a valuable guy for the Diamondbacks to have. Over his final 4 years with the Cardinals, he played in 44 postseason games, including 2 World Series. There's no way you're going to convince me that experience doesn't pay off big time for the entire team, just being around this guy. He always gets a warm ovation, signs a lot of autographs when he's back here at Busch Stadium.
Well, that postseason experience, especially if the Diamondbacks make it to the postseason, because there's a lot of things that happen in postseason baseball that don't happen during the regular season. Not so much during the game itself, but pre and post game, the interview request, even batting practice. It's tough to get to the cage during the postseason because there's so many media members circled around behind home plate. It really throws players off of their normal routine, and for somebody like Daniel Descalso, who's been through that, hopefully he would be able to forewarn some of his teammates what they can expect.
Descalso bangs one by Voit at first base, a 2-out single. Just the 2nd hit for the Diamondbacks tonight against Michael Walker.
Pulls it hard through that right side past Luke Voit at first base. Can't quite get there with the diving attempt. 2-out base runner here for the Diamondbacks.
And a chance for A.J. Pollock, who's 0 for 2. AJ had 2 hits in the game last night, including a double in that 4th inning. Pollock shoots one to the gap in left center. Bader is over to cut it off, and Descalso is going to have to stop at third. It's a double for A.J. Pollock, his 20th of the year. And the rookie center fielder Harrison Bader saved a run right there by getting to that ball before it got to the wall.
Well, we've talked about Bader's speed at the plate, his ability to get down that first baseline, but he probably took a run off the board right here. Really closed ground quickly to get to that backhanded play, holding Daniel Descalso at third base with 2 outs in the inning.
Tony Perez-Chica saw that and quickly realized he was going to have to stop Daniel at third. AJ snuck in there to second. Here's Derek Lilliquist now. No one warming up in the Cardinal bullpen. Walk at 87 pitches. Well, things are starting to get lively down there. 2 on and 2 out. Boy, a base hit here would be enormous for the Diamondbacks. It's David Peralta, 0 for 2. David has flied out to center, grounded out to second. Missed with a fastball in. A single by Descalso. The Pollock double, both with 2 outs, second and third for Peralta. On and 1. Good take by Peralta there. Molina has to figure something else out now. Peralta's not been biting or chasing these pitches, and he's ahead 3-1. They've got Goldie on deck, first base open. Goldie has walked and struck out tonight. Three and 1 to Peralta. There's a tapper foul to Dave McKay at first. Full count, 3-2. Here it is. Got him. Inning. That's a look inside Ballpark Village, right across the street here from Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis. What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. Game 3 of this 4-game set tomorrow. Zach Greinke on the mound for the Diamondbacks against the Sun Devil Mike Leake. Diamondbacks live pregame show is on the air at 3:30 in the afternoon of 4:15. First pitch. So far for T.J. McFarland, 3 1/3 innings on in relief of Robby Ray, who was struck in the head by a line drive in the second inning. And Tommy Pham leads off the St. Louis 6th. The most pitches T.J. McFarland has thrown in a game this year was 40. That was at Milwaukee May 28th when he worked 3 innings in relief. He's at 50 right now. His career high for pitches in a ball game is 69, but that was back in June of 2013. Ruby De La Rosa has started warming up with the Diamondback bullpen. 1-1 on Tommy Pham. This is bounced to third. Descalso bobbles that one. That was a lot like the one that Daniel had to charge earlier in the ball game. And Pham's aboard to start the home half of the 6th.
Once again, Daniel tries to come in and smother that ball on the short hop. Just hit him in a bad spot in the glove and got far enough away to allow Pham to reach that time. You know, there's a rule of thumb for infielders. If the ball is batted at home plate and hits the dirt in front of home plate, as a third baseman, you're probably better served to go ahead and charge that ball. If the ball happens to hit the grass first, maybe you better hold your ground and even back up a step. That time the ball hit in the dirt. Daniel tried to come in and get it on the short hop and was just a tad late.
E5, the error on Descalso. Pham breaks for second. Herman's throw is not in time. 14th stolen base for Tommy Pham. He's at second with no outs and a scoreless 6th.
Now Chris Herman throws from his knees this time because he had no other option. Just tremendous jump at first by Pham. Easily beats that throw to second base. No fault of Chris Herman's.
Pitch to Paul DeJong was a strike. DeJong has walked and grounded out. No score in the 6th inning. 4 hits for St. Louis, 3 for the Diamondbacks. Paul DeJong's up there riding a 7-game hitting streak. He's hit home runs in 4 of those 7 games. Yes, he went, Jim Wolf. It's 0-2. Paul DeJong having a very, very good rookie season. He does most of his damage here at Busch Stadium. Look at this. He's a .390 hitter at home. .220 on the road or so. So there's about a 460-point boost in OPS for DeJong, home versus away. It's a pretty big gap. Two and two to the rookie shortstop. Paul DeJong, a 4th-round pick by the Cardinals out of nearby Illinois State. That was in the draft just 2 years ago. Now here he is as their everyday shortstop. Squibb shot to Drury at second. Phams in at third as they retired DeYoung. So DeYoung finds a way to get it to the right side. One out with Pham at third for Jerko, who doubled his last time up. Just tapped one down the first base line. And here comes Torey Lovullo. Ruby De La Rosa warming up in the bullpen. And how about the job, Bob, that TJ McFarland did here tonight?
Outstanding. We saw Patrick Corbin in an emergency start step in for Taijuan Walker and pitch at Gem, and under unfortunate circumstances TJ McFarland does an outstanding job.
Back after this. McFarland tonight. It's our Chaz Roberts air conditioning and plumbing cool plays of the game. Emergency relief after Robby Ray was struck in the head by a line drive. 3 2/3 scoreless innings.
Outstanding. Couldn't ask anything more from TJ McFarland. What he gave the Diamondbacks tonight, kept that ball down, put it on the ground, got some easy outs, and now it's up to Ruby De La Rosa to strand those two runners, or the runner at third rather.
That's Tommy Pham with one out, and Jed Jerko is the hitter. Here is Ruby coming off the DL earlier this week after right shoulder inflammation. Only able to pitch in 13 games last year, 10 starts with that right elbow trouble. Had not one but 2 stem cell injections during the wintertime. And now reincarnated as a bullpen arm for the Diamondbacks. 1-1 on Jed Jerko, who doubled his last time up. Asked a lot today if the Diamondbacks are going to add a bullpen piece before the trade deadline, which is Monday, and a lot of that, Bob, may hinge on the health of Ruby De La Rosa.
Yeah.
J.J. Hoover sent out to AAA. Ruby called up the other day. If Ruby is healthy and throwing like we know he can, that's a big weapon back there for Torey Lovullo. If he goes down or he can't be effective, then maybe they do need to go get somebody. But what we've seen from Ruby when he's been healthy, he's been really good. Two balls and 1 strike on Jed Jerko. Infield medium depth for the Diamondbacks. Fastball at 99 miles an hour. That's a good sign for Ruby's health. The shoulder, the elbow. He's just going to come up here and let it go. You talk to Ruby. He's not worried about health. He's not thinking about it. He's going to come up here and throw as hard as he can until he can't anymore. Oh, Jerko just reaches out and taps a 99-mile-an-hour fastball into center for the game's first run. That's how he doubled down the line in the 4th. Now here in the 6th, it's an RBI single.
Yeah, you can call it a defensive swing or a controlled swing, but just trying to make contact. Real short, abbreviated swing that time from Jerko. Hits that line drive into center field to get the first run of the ball game home.
Now here's Yadier Molina, who's 0 for 2.
We're through first pitch slider to Jerko to jump ahead in the count. First pitch slider here to Molina to get the swinging strike. And you know he's got that near 100-mile-an-hour fastball in his back pocket at any time. I'm really surprised he threw Jerko a fastball.
Why so?
Well, you saw him flail at the breaking balls earlier in the sequence. Jed Jerko throughout his career has been known as a dead fastball hitter.
Another hard slider there. Well, one thing you like about Ruby in this role, especially if it's going to be fairly late in ball games, he is not afraid. And you can't say that about a lot of guys, not in the big leagues even. But Ruby, throw him in the deep end, he's fine. He is not going to back down. Molina able to check that time. Didn't go, says Jim Wolf. Randall Grichuk would be next.
A lot of times with 2 strikes and a runner at first base, Molina looks to shoot that ball through the hole in the right side. Looks for fastballs or breaking balls on the outer third of the plate. Just tries to get him between Brandon Drury and Paul Goldschmidt into right field for a base hit.
1-2 on the Cardinals catcher. There's a little flare that goes foul into the seats. Molina, the night off last night, he comes into tonight with a 4-game hitting streak. Leads the Cardinals in hits this year. Double play ball. Owings can't handle it, and they get 1. Chris Owings couldn't collect that one near the second base bag. They do get the force on Jerko for the second out.
Well, that looked like a tailor-made double play ball. CO just looked up off the grounder enough that it hit him in the heel of the glove. Fortunately, stayed close enough they could still get the force at second on Jerko. That should have been a double play. Ruby out of the inning.
Mike Butcher comes to the mound now as Randall Grichuk steps up. Grichuk hit a chopper to third. That went off the glove of Descalso, ruled a base hit back in the 4th. Think back to the way this inning started. Daniel Descalso had the error on the ball hit by Tommy Pham to lead off the 6th inning. Pham then stole second on the first pitch to DeYoung, who later that at bat hit a ground ball to second, getting Pham to third, and he comes into the Jerko bloop single. So that Descalso error has been costly so far, and again the defense in the infield lets the Diamondbacks down here. Grichuk gets a chance now with Molina at first and 2 outs. A run is in. Can't make every play all the time, otherwise anybody be able to play this game. Seven from Ruby, and he's ahead 0-2. Grichuk, as we saw last night, he'll get himself out. He's not a disciplined hitter. He'll bite on an inside fastball, bite on a low fastball. You can challenge him with hard stuff. Archie Bradley or Fernando Rodney got him to strike out in the 9th inning last night on a hard fastball. Just does get a piece of that one at 99. Ruby's not giving in here. Well, if you wanted to throw a slider, you got him set up for it. A whole bunch of fastballs. He's got Grichuk on the back foot here, 0-2. Went to the slider and dropped it in there. A beauty. Rings up Grichuk, but the Cardinals score first. They lead it 1-0.
Half of the 6th. Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Well, Michael Walker's night is over. 6 scoreless innings. On for the bullpen, or from the bullpen for the Cardinals, is their former closer, Sung Hwan Oh. Got 18 saves this year, but he's on to start the 7th inning. It'll be Goldie, Martinez, and Owings. 4, 5, and 6 for the Diamondbacks. D-backs had their big chance with 2 outs in the 6th inning. Descalso a single, Pollock a double. Peralta struck out 2nd and 3rd, 2 down to end the threat. And now the D-backs trail it 1-0 as Goldie leads off the 7th. All has walked and struck out tonight. He's 0 for 1. He's got a 4-game hitting streak. Goldie with 2 hits in each of his last 3 games. Singled twice and walked last night. He's down 0-2 here. Diamondbacks begin play tonight, a game and a half ahead of the Rockies for that first National League wild card. Colorado was rained out at Washington tonight. They'll play a split doubleheader at Nationals Park on Sunday. Dodgers home tonight. They begin a series against San Francisco. Alex Wood for LA and Matt Moore for the Giants. Dodgers have a 1-0 lead in that ball game. Bottom of the first. Goldie rolls one over the mound and into center. A leadoff single. So he's now hit safely in 5 straight.
A couple of other points of interest in Major League Baseball. Adrian Beltre of the Texas Rangers, 2 knocks tonight, running his total to 2,998. Looking for that elusive 3,000th hit sometime this weekend. The Rangers are playing at home. And also Jose Altuve, talking about Texas, for the Houston Astros, who are 17 games up in the American League West over Seattle going into play tonight. He had a 3-hit game, his 19th of the season.
He's unbelievable. He has had one of the best Julys in almost 100 years.
Crazy good.
JD Martinez
had 19 more hits than Eric Hosmer, who was second in the American League going into play tonight. He has a 39-point batting average advantage over Gene Segura, 365 to 326 going into play tonight. He gets 3 hits every night.
But the question about Adrian Beltre, did he stand in the on-deck circle?
That's a good question. And where was the on-deck circle?
Did it get moved? Goldie a leadoff single. Now JD Martinez ahead, 2 balls and no strikes with Owings standing on the on-deck circle. JD let that one rip. He's not afraid. When he gets ahead in a count, JD Martinez, he's going to give you the home run swing. At least one time he's really going to just let it go. Grand slam last night, all the scoring in the ball game for either side. A 4-0 Diamondbacks win. He's got 5 hits with the D-backs. 4 of them are home runs. He's grounded out twice tonight, 0 for 2. 2-2.
And to answer your question about Adrian Beltre, somebody tweeted out a picture, and he was not standing in the on-deck circle.
Well, did he get thrown out of the game?
Not yet.
He should have. Right? That would have been awkward because Jerry Davis, well, I guess they have a new umpiring crew because it's a new series. He might have been the plate umpire. 2-2. 6 games with the Diamondbacks. JD Martinez, 4 home runs and 11 RBIs. Exactly what they were hoping for when they traded 3 minor leaguers to the Tigers to bring him here. Funny, Torrey was joking the other day, you know, the nicest part for him about JD Martinez is he gets to shake his hand for a change after a home run, because for years in the American League, Torrey would watch from the opposite dugout when Martinez was hitting home runs for Detroit and he was with the Blue Jays or the Red Sox. Fastball missed. It's a full count, 3-2. Reaches down and lifts it in the air to center. It's carrying for Bader, and Goldie digs for second. Close play, and he is in there. JD Martinez took the rookie Bader all the way to the 400-foot mark in dead center. Goldie went back to the first base bag, And tagged up, so the tying run in scoring position now with 1 out.
Boy, great instinctive base running play by Goldie that time. He saw the swing of J.D. Martinez, kind of out front, fooled a little bit. Hit that lazy fly ball to deep center field, but Goldie realized it wasn't going to leave the ballpark, so he went back to tag up. He can watch the throw as he's running to second base. If it's on line or he feels like he's not going to make it, you slam on the brakes and go back to first. That time he's able to move into scoring position with 1 out.
Well, you show me another power hitting first baseman in this game that can do that.
None.
Exactly. And here's CO, who doubled his last time up. Fastball missed. It's 1-0. Chris's double in the 5th snapped a 3 for 40 skid for him. Single can tie the game right here. Torrey was talking and was asked a lot about Chris Owings before the game today, and he said that CO represents lots of what he wants to see in his players. He's not hiding from his recent offensive downturn. He is out there wearing it. One and two. And Torrey has been quick to remind Chris as the bullpen really gets busy for the Cardinals. Duke, the left-hander, we saw Bowman, the righty, last night. He has been quick to remind Owings about all the good he's done this year. And yeah, you're grinding right now. I know you're not getting the results offensively, but you've been a big part of why we've won games, and you're going to be a big part again. Now you look, Bob, to what the Cardinals went through here yesterday and today with the fiasco with Mike Matheny and Yadier Molina, and Matheny sat him and sort of hinted that he was tired, and then Molina struck back and put something on social media about Matheny and his manager being incorrect. That doesn't happen with Torrey Lovullo. That's all, because that's communication. It just doesn't happen in the other dugout. Molina wanted that one. He couldn't hang on to the foul tip, and Owings is still alive. And Mike Matheny is as good as there is in this game. But it's funny how you one little slip up, you forget one thing, you make one comment, and it just becomes a whole big deal, especially in this age of social media. Everybody's got a hot take. Speaking of social media, Howie Kendrick has apparently been traded, according to Fox Sports' Ken Rosenthal. Howie Kendrick to the Washington Nationals. Nationals rained out today against the Rockies. They'll play 2 Sunday. Fastball up, and it's 2-2. Brandon Drury on deck. Diamondbacks had second and third, 2 outs in the 6th inning, couldn't get a run across. Now Goldie's at second, tying run in the 7th with 1 out, 2-2 on Chris Owings. Got him. To the breaking ball, 2 down.
Hard slider from O just off that outside corner. That's the one that CO's really battled against recently. I'm thinking about Howie Kendrick going to the Nationals. He'll probably find himself playing a lot of left field for Dusty Baker. They've been running Chris Heisey and Ryan Rayburn. Wilmer Defoe's been playing some left field with Jason Worth still on the disabled list.
Yeah, they got some injuries there in Washington. There was a point where they had only 2 healthy outfielders on the 40-man roster. Brandon Drury, Diamondbacks need a 2-out knock here. Brandon has struck out, grounded out. He's 0 for 2. Drury had that career day June 21st at Colorado, went 4 for 6, knocked in 6 runs. And at that point he was over 300 for the year, but since then in his last 25 games he's hit 200. Trying to get it going here. Slowly hit up the middle. DeYoung charges, can't handle it. Drury's aboard and Goldie's in at third. Tough play for the Cardinal shortstop.
Another infielder that tries to come in and smother that ball on the short hop. Came up, hit him in the heel of the glove. Got far enough away for Drury to reach. Goldie moves up to third base for the Herminator.
Chris Herman, he has grounded out, flying out 0 for 2. They put a hit up on the board for the Diamondbacks. That's a base hit for Drury. First and third, 2 outs. Swing and a miss at that fastball, and it's 0-1. Giants have come back to tie the Dodgers 1-1. They're in the second in LA. Here's the 0-1 to Chris Herman. Missed away, a ball and a strike. Pitcher spot up next. Ketel Marte gets ready, standing on the on-deck circle. Cardinals have a lefty and a righty ready in their bullpen. Fastball missed again. It's 2-1. Chris Herman in a 4 for 51 right now. Diamondbacks desperate for a 2-out base hit here, trying to tie up this ball game. Two and two. He thought it was outside. Greg Gibson said Oh, man. Oh, it's too big a spot to miss that one. 2 and 2. Full count, 3 and 2. Ketel Marte on deck. Paul Goldschmidt at third. He's the tying run. Brandon Drury at first. He's the go-ahead run. Molina wants to make sure.
2 or 3 times every inning.
Send Commissioner Manfred an email. I'm sure he's noticed. Diamondbacks stranded 2 with 2 outs in the 6th. 2 on and 2 outs here in the 7th. Down 1-0. 3 and 2 to Chris Herman. That's bounced fair to first. Boyd has it. And is out of the inning. Bottom 7th on the way in St. Louis. Diamondbacks down 1-0. Each team with 5 hits. Diamondbacks trail the Cardinals 1-0. Robby De La Rosa back out there to start the 7th. By the way, I want to pass along a big thank you and first class tip of the cap, wag of the finger to the San Francisco Giants, who saw the Diamondbacks tweet about Robby Ray being removed from the game after he was hit by a line drive. The Giants just a few minutes ago from their official team Twitter account tweeted out positive thoughts for Robby Ray. So thank you, very classy San Francisco Giants.
Very nice.
Robby was alert, taken to a nearby hospital for further testing, and that's all the information we have right now. Hit in what appeared to be the back of the head by a line drive off the bat of Luke Voit in the 2nd inning. Robby was carted off the field, but was sitting up and waving to the fans here, so the signs were certainly encouraging.
Speaking of the Giants, they're tied up 1-1 with the Dodgers. Home run by Brandon Crawford of the Giants and Corey Seager of the Dodgers, the only scoring in that game so far.
The 2 shortstops. Rockies were rained out in Washington. Here is Luke Voit, who hit the ball that struck Robby Ray. 0 for 2. Got the start at first base tonight. Voit, Bader in the pitcher spot in the St. Louis 7th, 7-8-9 against Robby De La Rosa. Cardinals got a bloop RBI single by Jed Jerko in the 6th. The game's only run so far. TJ McFarland outstanding with 3 2/3 scoreless innings of relief after Robby had to leave the game. Voit a leadoff walk, and here's the center fielder Bader.
Well, we might see a pinch runner here from Voit. Yes, indeed. Looks like Colton Wong coming out of that first base dugout.
He could probably stay in the game at second base, and they can move Matt Carpenter over to first to replace Voit. So Wong the pinch runner, and here's Bader the center fielder. Bader bunts it by De La Rosa. This is going to be tough. He really runs well, and he's safe at first. Nicely done by the rookie center fielder Harrison Bader. And the first 2 have reached in the Cardinals 7th.
Pushes that ball hard past Robby De La Rosa right at Brandon Drury. Got it out there in that Bermuda Triangle. Everybody a little bit confused. Goldie was backpedaling to the bag at first as Drury got to the ball, but with Bader's speed, they had no play.
Here's the pitcher's spot for St. Louis. Greg Garcia is announced as the pinch hitter. That brings Torey Lovullo out from the Diamondback dugout to check in with Greg Gibson. Double switch in the works for the Diamondbacks. We'll sort it out when we return.
2 on, nobody out. Hey fans, want to let you know the day after every D-backs win, you get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Changes for the Diamondbacks with 2 on and nobody out in the bottom of the 7th, a 1-0 ball game. The ash line called to the bullpen. The left-hander Andrew Chafin is brought on to face the left-handed pinch hitter Greg Garcia. Brandon Drury comes out of the ball game. Ketel Marte checks in. He will bat 9th pitcher spot, now 7th in the Diamondback order. And let's see where everybody lines up. Yeah. Marte will play shortstop, and Owings moves over to second.
Greg Garcia does have 5 sacrifice bunts this season. He's bunted more than any other position player for the St. Louis Cardinals. Probably going to be asked to put down a bunt right here.
Garcia just 4 for 26 as a pinch hitter, misses that one. And it's 0-1. 234 on the air. He's got a couple of home runs. He started last night's game at third base, singled and struck out twice. Goldie it on the grass at first, Descalso at third, but he can't get too far from the bag. That one really hurt Chris Herman. You could hear him yell from up here.
Yeah, the way that ball bounced away, it looked like it got him on the shin guard, maybe on the knee, the way he's limping out there toward the mound trying to walk it off. Get another look right here. Garcia, first of all, steps on home plate as he's bunting the ball. He should be called out.
Oh yeah, Greg Gibson missed it.
Yeah. Chris still trying to walk that off. Caught him right on the inside of the knee. And even though you're wearing those shin guards, you can feel that right through those shin guards.
Cardinals have very good speed on the bases. Wong at second and Bader at first. 0-2 on Greg Garcia. Garcia squares with 2 strikes and strikes out as the bunt goes foul. Here's another left-hand batter up there against Chafin. It's Matt Carpenter, who's 0 for 3. 1 for 7 in the series. Carpenter tonight has struck out twice and grounded out. He's sitting under 190 versus lefties this year.
I think if you ran into Matt Carpenter at a local restaurant, he'd have eye black on during dinner. This game started in the bright sunshine much earlier this evening, and Carpenter had the eye black on, still wearing it.
It might be formal eye black.
Yeah.
A slider and a fastball so far. Carpenter rarely swings at bad pitches. He's 4th in the big leagues in walks, so you got to throw him strikes or at least something close to the strike zone. He's walked this year about as often as he struck out. There's a fastball for a strike, and it's 2-1. Andrew Chafin since the end of May last season, holding left-hand hitters to a 171 batting average. Bullpen right now quiet for the Diamondbacks. 2-1 on Matt Carpenter. 2 on, 1 out. Jammed him. Pollock got a late break, and he's not there. The catch is not made. It dropped in. AJ couldn't quite get that one. Got a really late jump on that. Sounded like Carpenter broke his bat, and it dropped just in front of AJ.
Yeah, nice effort right there, but you're right, AJ just kind of froze initially on the swing and then realized that ball was dying quickly in shallow center field. Tried to make the diving attempt, couldn't quite get there in time.
So the Cardinals, with 1 out in a 1-0 ball game, have the bases loaded for Tommy Pham. They got Wong at third, Bader at second, and Carpenter at first. Pham singled in the first inning. He's 1 for 3. Pham hitting over .320 versus left-handers this season. Ball 1.
Well, we've seen the Diamondbacks do this a number of times in bases loaded situations. The middle infielder's not playing all the way in, but not playing back at double play depth. Kind of an in-between depth right now. I would assume on a hard hit ball, they'll try to turn 2 up the middle. On a slowly hit ball, try to get the force out at home plate.
Double play ball here. Marte, Owings for 1, and they roll it. Andrew Chafin, bases loaded, 1 out, and he gets the double play ball. He desperately needed it. Still 1-0. Todd Walsh with you. D-backs trail the Cardinals 1-0 as we start the 8th inning. Fan season tickets for next year on sale right now. Customize your own season ticket plan. You can get a series, a weekend, a half-season plan, or go all in with full Diamondback season tickets. You can buy or renew right now online. Do the whole thing online. Design your own 2018 Arizona Diamondback season ticket plan at dbacks.com/advantage. The best seats for the lowest prices. Go to the Diamondback season ticket holders. 1-0 game in the 8th. And here is the left-hander Brett Cecil. Appearance number 50 on the year. And Ketel Marte will lead off the 8th inning for the Diamondbacks. Matt Carpenter does indeed move over from second base to first base after Colton Wong came on to run for Voit. Wong stays in the game and plays at second. Ketel Marte, 222, 3 home runs. He singled last night at his start at shortstop. He was 1 for 4. He's still limping around out there. In fact, Ken Crenshaw is going to come out and have a look at Ketel Marte right on the top of the foot. Torey Lovullo on his way out.
It's not going to stop hurting anytime soon. It's just a question of whether Ketel Marte has a place to put that pain for right now and focus on what he has to do in this at bat.
Down 0-2 against Brett Cecil. Daniel Descalso, the leadoff man on deck. A.J. Pollock behind him. Jake Lamb, who didn't start the game, is available off the bench for Torey Lovullo tonight. Marte knocks it into center, a leadoff single. A good start here in the Diamondback 8th. Tying runs aboard.
Big breaking ball up and out over the plate. Marte just drives it back up the middle of the field. Cecil with an attempted kick save out there on the mound, but it gets by him into center.
Now he's got a run on that bad foot. Still looks like it hurts. Descalso had a 2-out single in the 6th his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Started third base tonight. Jake Lamb got the night off after that catch into the seats and foul ground last night. Shows bunt, fouls it back. It's 0-1. Torey Lovullo said after having Jake Lamb in the original starting lineup, said he thought better of it. Let's just give him a day here. General soreness after making that catch running into the stands. Best to give him some time to recuperate, but Lamb is available to hit tonight if need be. He's just fine, not hurt or anything, just a little sore. Descalso's bunt attempt will bring Jerko in on the grass at third. Carpenter holding Marte on the bag at first. That spins Daniel around, and it's 1-1. Descalso's hit safely in 4 straight games. Former Cardinal had the night off last night. Had that big 2-run triple in Wednesday's win over the Braves at Chase Field. The skipper, Mike Matheny. His team 2 games under 500 coming into tonight. 4.5 behind the Cubs in the NL Central. Breaking ball is strike 2, says Greg Gibson. Descalso's one of those guys you don't even really worry about what the count is with him. He'll find a way to work his way back in it. Two and two. A.J. Pollock, who doubled his last time up to deep left center, is on deck. Descalso drives it deep right field. Grichuk will play it off the base of the wall. Marte is going to stop at third. It's a double for Daniel Descalso. His second hit tonight. And the Diamondbacks down 1-0 have second and third with nobody out in the 8th.
Ball was slammed to right field by Daniel Descalso. Brett Cecil's one of those lefties that has the backward splits. Left-handed hitters hitting almost 100 points higher than right-handed hitters, and Daniel Descalso got one to his liking and puts runners at second and third with nobody out.
Yeah, with no outs, Tony Perez-Chica was not going to gamble with that tying run at third, so he stopped Marte there. And here's A.J. Pollock, who doubled his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Meeting at the mound time. Cardinals in the offseason gave Brett Cecil a 4-year, $30 million contract. That's a lot of money for a guy as basically a left-handed setup guy. So they expect big things from him. Signed that free agent deal last November. He's a $7 million man in that Cardinal bullpen for 3 years after this one. Chance for AJ here. Diamondbacks had second and third, 2 outs in the 6th, couldn't get a run across. 2 on in the 7th, couldn't get a run home. Mike Matheny wanted a long delay there out on the mound. He got it, and now it's the slow walk back to get Cecil. Told him to hold up, wait a minute, and stand here until Greg Gibson comes out and makes me send you back home. And now he finally signals for Rosenthal in the Cardinal bullpen. Diamondbacks second and third, no outs, down 1-0 back after this. Right here, second and third, no outs in the 8th inning. And so Mike Matheny will go to the hard-throwing right-hander Trevor Rosenthal. 60 strikeouts in 39 innings this year. He does have 4 saves and 6 opportunities. He's on to face A.J. Pollock with Ketel Marte the tying run at third, Daniel Descalso the go-ahead run at second, and no outs. A.J. doubled his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Diamondbacks, who went the first 4 2/3 innings tonight against Michael Wacha without a base hit, have now gone 7 for their last 12 at the plate, including 3 doubles. They didn't get their first hit against Wacha tonight until Chris Owings' 2-out double in the 5th. Wacha at that point had retired 10 in a row. That one's fouled straight back, and quickly it's 0-2. Boy, A.J. Pollock over his last 10 games has been an extra base hit machine. Last 10 games for A.J. 6 doubles, 2 triples, and 2 home runs. He's doubled in both games of this series so far. Yadier Molina getting paid by the mound visit tonight.
Apparently so. Well, probably a little reason for extra concern with Daniel Descalso running at second base. He probably remembers the signs that Yadier Molina used with his pitching staff when he was playing middle infield defense. Last time Molina went to the mound like that with a runner at second, he didn't even give a sign. He just went out and verbally told the pitcher what he wanted him to throw, went back behind the plate and said, bring it.
Strikes out Pollock for the first out in the 8th.
Like a hard 2-seamer that time from Rosenthal. He generally pounds that 4-seamer in there in the upper 90s, but had a lot of sink on that one.
Yeah, that was a tough pitch, breaking down and in on A.J. Now another meeting at the mound. Greg Gibson, the plate umpire, is going to join this one. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. Gibson out there saying, hey, you know, we got to move these games along here, Yachty. Come on. He's literally pulling him back to the plate. David Peralta 0 for 3. Infield in for St. Louis. Marte at third, Descalso at second. He's the go-ahead run. Peralta in the 6th inning came up against Wacha, second and third, 2 outs, and struck out to end the inning and the threat. Whip shot to second, Wong coming home. And they cut down Marte at the plate.
That contact play almost worked that time for the Diamondbacks. Wong had a double clutch out there at second base before delivering the ball to Molina at home plate. Just does get it there in time. I don't know if Marte ever touched the plate right there. Molina looks to me like he's got the plate blocked. I think Torrey's going to want him to take a look at this.
And we will. Well, somebody is going to take a look. The headsets will go on. Now managers have to use a challenge for a review of the Buster Posey collision rule at home plate, Rule 713.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nowhere for him to go there. He can't get anywhere near the plate.
He went back to touch the plate just in case. Greg Gibson had called him out before that.
Now, if a manager is out of challenges after the start of the 7th inning, he can ask the crew chief to take a look at this particular play, the Buster Posey rule, but the Diamondbacks haven't used a challenge yet tonight.
Yeah, it looked like Marte missed the plate. Not sure if Molina got the tag on the left underarm of Ketel Marte as he went sliding by right there. But for me, the issue is he was blocking the plate. He didn't give Marte a lane to slide to.
Headsets are coming off. He is out at home.
So much for the rule.
Sam Holbrook. So now it was second and third, no outs. It's first and third, 2 down now for Goldie.
Well, for me, that's a little bit like the play with Manny Machado and Dustin Pedroia earlier this season when Machado clearly slid past the bag at second and made contact with Pedroia. The rule at second base was designed to protect middle infielders, and it wasn't called on that instance. And it sure looked to me like Yadier Molina had the plate blocked that time.
The Diamondbacks stranded 2 runners in the 6th, stranded 2 in the 7th, and now 2 on and 2 outs in the 8th. Goldie tonight has walked, struck out, singled. He's 1 for 2. Descalso is at third, and Peralta at first with 2 outs. '99 from Rosenthal on the fastball, and it's 1-1. Tying run 90 feet away. They have stranded a runner at third in each of the previous 2 innings. 2-1. Each team with 7 hits. Diamondbacks trailing 1-0. St. Louis has left 7 on base. D-backs have stranded 5. Two and 2. Paul Goldschmidt and Trevor Rosenthal. 2 on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes in a 1-0 game. Got him. For the 3rd consecutive inning, the Diamondbacks strand 2 base runners in a 1-0 ball game. for further test, but was awake and alert. Struck on the back of the head by a line drive off the bat of Luke Voigt in the 2nd inning. It's a 1-0 ball game as we start the bottom of the 8th. Andrew Chafin back out there to face Cardinal shortstop Paul DeJong. The Diamondbacks down 1-0. Have stranded 2 runners in each of the last 3 innings. They had 2nd and 3rd and nobody out in the top half of this inning and could not get a run across. DeJong has walked tonight. He's 0 for 2. A lot going on with the trade deadline approaching on Monday. For some undisclosed reason, the Mets have acquired closer A.J. Ramos from Miami. Not sure what's going on there. And the Rockies have the Baltimore Orioles have apparently acquired Jeremy Hellickson from the Phillies. Neither one of those moves, frankly, makes any sense at all. Mets have tweeted out they've acquired A.J. Ramos from the Marlins for minor league outfielder Ricardo Cespedes and minor league pitcher Merandy Gonzalez. Chafin's got to hustle over to the bag and does a nice job to get that one. It went by Goldie. And Owings got it at second base. A 4-1 putout. Nice play there by Andrew to get over there.
A nice throw by Chris Owings to lead Andrew Chafin as he was streaking across the right side of the infield there. And Andrew Chafin had to do a little moonwalking across the bag. He ends up going backwards across the base at first, but drags that left foot right across the top of the bag to get the out. Probably not the way you draw it up in spring training during drills, but get the out nonetheless.
That's why you run them. Here's Jerko, who's been the big offensive, I'll use the word force for the Cardinals. He's had 2 bloop hits, but they've been effective. He doubled and scored in the 4th, had an RBI bloop single in the 6th to knock in the game's only run. Cardinals have been wondering who their closer is or should be all year long, with their season in a sense on the brink, 2 games under 500. And Derek Gould, who does such a tremendous job as the Cardinals beat writer for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, was just on the Twitter a moment ago talking about the top half of this inning as Jerko has another base hit, his 3rd tonight. And Derek Gould says, wonder who the closer is no more. Trevor Rosenthal comes in for one of the most pivotal appearances of the season. He came on in a big mess and got some key outs there. 3 of them, in fact, after the Diamondbacks had 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. There's Molino for 3. The Orioles acquisition of Jeremy Hellickson is not a done deal yet, according to a lot of the national beat writers on the Twitter, but it looks like Hellickson is headed to Baltimore. Trade deadline coming up at the end of this weekend. Everyone in St. Louis wondering if the Cardinals will move Lance Lynn, who was scheduled to pitch the series finale here Sunday. His name has been out there front and center in trade deadline rumors. Zach Greinke and Mike Leake start tomorrow night. Taijuan Walker and Lance Lynn scheduled to go Sunday. One and 2 on Yadier Molina. Diamondbacks at the top of the 9th. They'll have Martinez, Owings, and the pitcher spot due up with Lamb available to pinch hit. That's 5, 6, and 7 in the D-backs order. near the line, playable for Martinez. Long run for JD, and he can't quite get there. And looking at Yadier Molina at the plate, I am reminded once again that you need a neck tattoo. I believe last time we decided it would be a fish eating a slice of pizza.
Playing a guitar. Yeah. On a motorcycle.
Yeah, he's got some ink on both sides of his neck. Popped him up. Descalso calling for it. 2 outs.
Molina 0 for 4 on the night, and I think he's broken 2 bats, slamming them down to the ground in anger after making outs. Really trying to make something happen here tonight after what happened earlier today.
Kept out of the lineup yesterday. Mike Matheny hinted that he looked a little tired. Molina took to social media insisting that that was misinformation from his manager, that he was not at all tired, and felt he had to defend himself on social media from what Mike Matheny kind of accidentally stumbled into. He did not use the word tired, but sort of stopped just shy of going there. But hopefully that's for the Cardinals in the past now. It's all been addressed. Here's Randall Grichuk, who singled in the 4th, 1 for 3. A fly ball to JD Martinez. Good job tonight by Andrew Chafin. Got a double play ball to win the 7th, 3 outs in the 8th. And JD Martinez leads off the 9th inning. Diamondbacks trail it 1-0. Diamondbacks trail the Cardinals 1-0. Trevor Rosenthal, who came on 2nd and 3rd, no outs in the 8th inning, and got 3 big outs, including 2 strikeouts. He struck out Pollock and Goldie to end the threat, and Strand 2 keep it a 1-0 ball game. He's back out there to lock this one down, and JD Martinez leads it off for the Diamondbacks. He's 0 for 3. Martinez, Owings, and the pitcher spot 5, 6, and 7. Jake Lamb did not start the game, is available to pinch hit. This is a fly ball to left center field, and Tommy Pham runs over there in front of Harrison Bader. Martinez is retired right away, and Chris Owings is the hitter. And it does indeed look like Jake Lamb coming into the on-deck circle. Not in the starting lineup after crashing into the seats making that catch in last night's ball game. There's Jake. Torey Lovullo decided let's let him rest. He was a little sore after colliding with that wall in the seats. He's just fine. Owings doubled in the 5th, 1 for 3. '99 from Rosenthal, and it's quickly 0-2. Cardinal beat writers already pointing to Rosenthal's performance tonight as a pivotal moment in this Cardinal season. And he's got his 3rd strikeout tonight. Jake Lamb is the hitter, batting in the pitcher's spot. 266, 23 homers. Jake 0 for 3 with a walk last night. Diamondbacks will look back on this game if it finishes this way as some lost opportunities. They stranded 2 runners in the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th innings. They had 2nd and 3rd, no outs to start the 8th and couldn't get the equalizer across. Ray Gibson says strike 1. One and 2. Diamondbacks live post-game show coming up right after our ball game. Todd Walsh will have reaction from inside the clubhouse. Game 3 tomorrow night. Zach Greinke against Mike Leake. 1 and 2 on Jake Lamb. 100 miles an hour from Rosenthal, who's trying to get the final 6 outs and nail this one down. Rosenthal gets 6 outs to close out the ball game, 4 with strikeouts, and the Diamondbacks drop this one 1-0. It's the 5th time this year the D-backs have been shut out. It's their 3rd 1-0 loss this season.
And once again, the lack of timely hitting plagued the Diamondbacks tonight. Only 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. They didn't have a lot of opportunities early. They had a bunch of opportunities late, just couldn't come up with that big knock.
Stranded 2 runners in the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th. And it winds up a 1-0 Cardinals win. We'll take a quick break. Back from Busch Stadium in St. Louis right after this.